So for me, it's much more of this is my recreation. This is, when people go out and join, a club, football team or something like that. They're still taking it very seriously. This is still something they love doing, but they don't have dreams of the NFL. I mean, I'm not worried about, am I ever going to make it to Second City out in Chicago or to Saturday Night Live?
Is this good or is this a little...
Some sound is on that shouldn't be on. Okay, go ahead.
See, this is an improvised moment. This is
Improv.
Cool.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble.
But the script...
That's my improv. Oh, no. What are we going to do now?
That'll work.
Well, when you do a show, like you have a show next week at Improv Boston, and a show is how long, like 90 minutes or something?
45 minutes
45
to an
minutes
hour.
to an hour.
There's different slots.
Plus or minus 2 days.
Yes.
Of the whole hour, is it all improv or is it sketches?
Well, actually, Improv Boston does both. We tend to do mostly improv. We do short form and then long form. Short form is what we did tonight with the games. And there's some scripted. I mean, when I come out and I host, I have a little bit of scripting that I do. And we do a lot of musical improv where we have a song prepared. Because Lord knows it's hard enough to make up a song and then make up what you're going to say. At least you have to know the song before you start going. But it just depends on what you want to do. I mean, I've done script there before too, but we're mostly improv.
But don't let that mislead you when you see people do improv and they say that they're, give us a suggestion, we'll do a song. That's improv.
Yeah.
That we're not saying everyone has everything, all the musical numbers pre-scripted.
Yeah.
I used to, last summer, I worked with a group where we would ask for location and to pick a member of our group from the audience, and then we would kill that member in the first scene, and then from there on we would do a murder mystery of, how did this happen and who was the killer and, what's going on. And I mean, all we knew beforehand was that we were going to end up in whatever location the audience gave us, and that we were going to end up, we had to kill somebody at the beginning and find out who did it at the end. Everything in the middle was entirely, off the top of our heads.
Yeah. I mean, I am coming from the world of stand-up. I've been doing it for 30 years or whatever. And in stand-up, silences or quiet is like death. You want to have them laughing, and they keep laughing forever, and then you have a good show. Improv for a stand-up is like, maybe they're doing it, but when you see a stand-up asking for questions and doing it, you usually think he's got somewhere he's going. It's not improv. He does it every night. He asks that question. So because silence is a scary thing to a stand-up, Whereby improv, you have these silences. You have these, because you don't know. You're not going to hit it all the time when you're just thinking it up. So that sounds like that's hard. That sounds like that. What do you do when all of a sudden you've hit a few, you're playing with it, haven't quite hit it, and it's quiet?
Well, sometimes the quiet's actually really good at improv because the audience is with you. And they're waiting. There's like this tension moment, like when we're doing Ding, it's like, okay, they're waiting for that bell to ring because they're excited because that's the payoff. It's like when that bell rings, they're going to get it switched. So they're listening so they can appreciate when the bell goes off, they're going to get the funny.
So
that game was originally invented to be played with Pavlov's dogs.
That's the dog thing again.
It's funny to me because I've done improv, people who haven't seen a lot of it sometimes go like, oh man, that was amazing, you should do stand-up. And I'm sitting back and going, I could never write all of that out. I could never be funny when I had to sit down and make sure that, everything I say is, I could never do that. I have such respect for stand-up. I feel like it's so nice that, both of them kind of look at each other and go, oh God, you're crazy.
It's just the opposite. Stand-ups want to make the audience think they're thinking it up. Oh, he's so smart. Look how he just talks about it. But that's the same thing he says every night. Improv, you really are thinking it up. Yep. So, I mean, in the world that I come from, you can't possibly be funny all the time when you're doing that. So it's dangerous.
It's scary.
People know that. I think the audience kind of knows that, don't they?
They have an
give you a
appreciation.
leeway.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the audience, you have to have the audience realize what's going on. And I think also the fact that when you're doing stand-up, it's just you. You're the only one out there. If something you say isn't funny, it's all on you. Whereas in improv, it's very much a team thing. It's very much where, if I'm, saying something and I'm not hitting it tonight, Birch is gonna, Birch is there to back me up. I never feel like, oh my God, they're all staring at me. I need to do something now. This is going terrible because, I'm just so busy interacting.
Well, and that brings us back to the beginning idea that a lot of the skills you learn in improv can really relate to your life. So one being, trusting that you're not out there on your own. You've got your friends are there with you. Another being you always say yes. So I know that if I ask him a question, he's always going to say yes. If I make him some sort of offer. That's one of the rules.
You never say, no, that's not true.
Well, and this I found is great. When I'm in the office and someone presents a horrible idea, I say, yeah, but I think this idea might work better. But you don't hear them. You
validate them anyway.
Yeah, they're validated, and having that improv skill to have to justify something like that, it really does take a long way.
So you notice using it in daily life.
Absolutely.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, day-to-day life doesn't have a script.
That's my problem. I'm trying to do my act in day-to-day life. It don't work.
But I mean,
it's not that funny.
I mean, you're never able to go up to a friend of yours and know exactly what they're going to say. So it's always nice to have, to be ready for that, to be prepared.
There's a confidence thing.
He can say anything he wants when he's up there, and it's like, all right, that's where we're going to go with it.
I did that stage last night. Well, so give me a good audience and a bad audience for improv.
This was a great audience.
This was a great audience.
Naturally, Chelmsford has the greatest audience in the world.
Well, sometimes you get an audience that really hasn't been to an improv show before, and so you'll ask for like a noun, and like
give an
we
adverb
in
or
Boston,
something.
and we have MIT,
Friendly.
Harvard, and you ask for a noun, and some things they just look at you, and you're all, it's a word.